Hey guys, welcome to Pet Rambles. I'm Pet and today I'm going to ramble about Star Wars The Old Republic Annihilation, a book by Drew Karpyshyn. Hopefully I pronounce his name correctly. Drew Karpyshyn is the writer, or was, he was the writer for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, one of the best games, but one of the best Star Wars games, let's put it like that. A game that came out in 2003, and I've been waiting for them to do some kind of remaster. There was a remaster in the works, but they kind of stopped, and I do want to replay that game again. And if you are not familiar with Star Wars The Old Republic, it's a timeline in the whole Star Wars universe which happens 3000 and something years before the Battle of Yavin, which is where episode 4 is happening. And because of that, there are things that are a little bit different, but you still have the Republic, you have some Empire there, and you still have Siths, Darth Lord Siths and Jedis and things like that, but it's they are allowed to do things without being that bothered with the current event things, let's put it like that. I haven't read Star Wars books in a long time, mostly because since the episode 7, 8 and 9, I don't want to go into that, but and I was a fan. I do have some Star Wars books ahead. I've been reading Star Wars books in 2006. I really like Timothy Zahn, for example, and there are a couple of Tron books that I want to read. But yeah, Drew Karpyshyn, he wrote Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and then he wrote a couple of books that came out 12, 13 years ago. And one of them is Darth Bane trilogy, which is 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I've read that series 9 years ago. It's 3 books, which really speaks a lot about this idea of master and apprentice, and how the apprentice at some point will kill the master, and then the apprentice will become the master, and he will take his own apprentice, and the cycle will keep going. It really goes into this Sith aspects, the dark side of the Jedi, and that was an interesting way to see it. And then I've read a book about Raven, which is one of the guys in Knights of the Republic, but I gave that book 3 out of 5, but I don't remember why. I don't remember much of that book, which is one of the reasons why I need to take notes more often. I will do it from now on. But yeah, the last book that Drew Karpyshyn wrote in this universe, let's put it universe like that, it's Annihilation. So Star Wars, The Old Republic, Annihilation. And the way I've read the book, I got the e-book on Kindle, and then I've also read to the audiobook at the same time. And I absolutely love it. The narrator is Mark Thompson. When I started with Audible, like in 2015, I believe, that's when I discovered Mark Thompson, and I absolutely love the way he's narrating and the way he's doing the voices. And whenever I was looking into buying Star Wars books, I always look if he's the one who's narrating this. But he seems to be like the main narrator when it comes to Star Wars books. So yeah, absolutely fantastic job by Mark Thompson narrating this. But let me tell you about what this book is, because I've been talking about 3 minutes and something, and you still have no idea what this book is about. Well, again, it's Star Wars Annihilation. The story follows Theron Shan, a Republic intelligence agent and the secret son of Jedi Grand Master Satele Shan. Unlike his legendary mother, Theron is not force sensitive, but he compensates with sharp wits, combat skills, and resourcefulness. I'm reading, by the way. As the galactic war between the Republic and the Sith Empire rages on, Theron is sent on a mission to dismantle a dangerous new Sith superweapon, a powerful battlecruiser capable of turning the tide of war. Alongside the deadly Twi'lek smuggler Tefis and the Jedi Master Gnos Dural, Theron embarks on a high-stakes adventure filled with espionage, betrayal, and daring heroics. Yeah. One of the reasons why I like this book, 4 out of 5, if I'm to give the ratings, I gave it 4 out of 5. It's not the best Star Wars book, it's not the worst Star Wars book, it's not mediocre, it's better than mediocre. It's just a fast book, it's 300 and something pages, it's enjoyable. And the reason why it's enjoyable is because it's not really about the Jedi. It's more about the espionage side of things and the way they do this. It's intelligence warfare, let's put it like that. You do get some Jedi fighting because you have Gnos Dural and other things, and I'm not going to spoil. It's a spoiler-free thingy. You do have some fighting when it comes to Jedi's fighting, and you do have some spaceships fighting, and that's interesting to see the fights. Drew did a pretty good job keeping you engaged when the fighting is happening. but also with the things between it. So yeah, the story is really diving into these aspects of espionage and spying and how this character, Theron, initially I was a bit afraid. I absolutely hate the characters. Those characters who are talented, they have talent, but they become rebels because they know they can afford to become rebels, and they are not fit for purpose, if it makes sense. Like, I mean, you're a rebel, but the general or whomever, the authority figure, can't use the rebel because the rebel is a rebel, but he's too good to not use the rebel, but the rebel has the how to put it, the arrogance of knowing he's the best. I've seen, but they are still newbies. So does it make sense? There was that character in Battlestar Galactica, the short-haired girl. Absolutely hated that character because she's the best pilot, but then she's not behaving like the best pilot because she's a rebel. Luckily, he is not like that. He is good. He is a little bit of a rebel. He's not sticking by the books, but he is an interesting character because of the emotional side of things. He seems to be human, and the way he's approaching things, it's because he has like a feel to it. So he's not an arrogant prick. That's what I'm trying to say. Again, I don't want to go into detail because I don't want to spoil it, because I do want you to read this book and maybe you will enjoy it. But yeah, it's kind of like one of those things that I'm happy that this is not an arrogant prick. I think it's an interesting character. Then it's interesting that this is not a force-sensitive protagonist. He's not a Jedi. He's not a master and apprentice and things like that. He's just a dude who is doing blaster thingy and then analyzing some things and things like that. And that was interesting. And as I've said, there are Jedi aspects. There are things on how he is relating. In the summary, you've read about that his mother is a very popular Jedi Grandmaster. She's a Jedi Grandmaster. And Jedi Grandmaster are not allowed to have children. Yet she did. Yet. And he kind of doesn't know his father, and he's a little bit with one of those things where he's discovering that he has a father and his father is not his father. And he's going a little bit into that emotional side on how he's going to deal with that aspect. But at the same time, he needs to be focused on the mission because the mission is very complex. And Republic intelligence had to pull all those strings to do this kind of mission, resources, just so because the mission is very difficult, and they had to do approvals to do the mission, and they were met up on how are we going to do this mission, and they were like, hey, we gathered here, there are no ranks right now, let's just talk, how are we going to do those missions? And I really like that. And one last thing that I want to note is that it is about a galactic conflict, but it's also a little bit, it tackles a little bit of moral ambiguity. And again, I don't want to go into spoilers mode, but one of these characters, important characters, and they've tackled a little bit this moral battle between a Jedi. There are no emotion, there are no things like that, and this other character. And that character was more of like, I will accept a couple of thousand deaths if in the grand scheme of things we can save millions. It is a little bit about that too. Not too so as you can see, like I already told you like 3 main points about why this book is interesting, and again, it's a 300 something pages book. It's fast, and it's managed to do all those things pretty decent. This is why I'm meaning that it's not groundbreaking book. It's not a bad book. It's not a mediocre book, but in this amount of pages, it manages to catch those aspects pretty well. And I am thinking, I really love the cover, by the way. The cover really drew me to it, and I always saw this book for 8 years. It was in my to-read list, and then I saw this cover and I was like, I'm intrigued by the cover because this is not a Jedi. I'm expecting some kind of infiltration thing. Even before I started to read this book, before being 100% about what the book is. This is the first time I'm reading a synopsis of the book. I just started because I knew that Drew is writing pretty well, and I was like, it's fast. Let's see what's going on. And the reviews are good. So I was like, let's take a chance and read the book. So I enjoyed it. And yeah, Star Wars. It is a canon. I think it's a canon book. You know, ever since Disney bought Star Wars, everything got split into two things. Legacy, all the books, all the old books and stories were kind of like set up aside into this expanded universe, and then some of the stories and the characters were kept as canon, which means that they are still the real Star Wars canon. And I think this book is canon because it's set up in the Old Republic. Disney didn't have to erase everything because it was 3000 and something years before episode 4, right? So yeah, I think it is an enjoyable book. I do recommend you to eat it, to eat it. I'm hungry right now, to read it. And I'm eagerly waiting to read the next books in the Star Wars universe. I think there will be Timothy Zahn's book about Tron. He has like 3 in the Tron universe, and then another 3, I believe, or something like that. I have to check up. I'm a bit confused by the naming convention. And the reason why I'm mentioning Timothy Zahn again, I'm the type of person that's not putting aspect, it's not putting importance into the author. I just like to read different things. But with Timothy Zahn, I remember when I was reading the first Star Wars books that I've read in 2006. I do have them on top. I will show them some other time. He was the first one who started to read, to write in the Star Wars Expanded Universe, and he's the one who created Tron. And I've read the first, is a trilogy, 3 books, and then 2 other books that are set up 20 years before those 3 books. And he was writing so well that I was really eager to read. I was going to the other room to read some more, to see what the hell is happening, what else is happening there. And Tron, luckily Disney kept Tron as a canon character, and they even got him in a couple of TV shows, I don't know. And I want to see what Timothy Zahn is doing. So yeah, anyway. Thank you guys for watching. See you soon. Goodbye.